Hey everyone, it's me, Corey Summers, your local Los Angeles realtor. Today I'm here with a lender. We are going to discuss the cost of waiting to buy a home. What does that mean for you? You're not going to want to miss this, so stay tuned. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, take a moment to click the subscribe button below, as well as the bell for updates. Updates are important. Hi everyone, it's me, Corey Summers. Today I'm here with Leo DePierre at Arcstone Financial, and we were literally having a conversation this past week about what is actually costing buyers to wait in today's market. And so I said, hey, let's sit down and talk about this with some actual real numbers and some facts, because sometimes there's folks out there, and I have clients that are like this, that are like, oh, I'm just gonna wait because the market's gonna crash. And I hate to be the bearer of news you don't want to hear, but the market is not about to crash. Prices are not about to go down. And I've got a whole video on the market coming up soon where I'll really dive into the meat of that. But the thing is, right now, we have inflation, we have interest rates ticking up, we have rumors of recession, we don't know the full impact of the Russia-Ukraine conflict. But what we do know is with interest rates going up and with the cost of housing continuing to go up, right? Never mind the fact that there's multiple offers pushing the final sale price up. There is literally a cost to waiting. And so we're gonna go over a couple scenarios, $1 million, $1,500,000, $2.5 million, because when you really sit and think about and have the real numbers and realize what it's going to cost you, you might rethink your strategy right now, or at least need to talk to your professional that you're working with to discuss the plan and strategy and what's the best fit for you. So Leo, why don't you share what the cost of waiting and explain what that is for someone that's looking to buy a home that's approved in like the $1 million price
Sure.
point?
Let me just say on top of what Corey just said, that appreciation keeps moving upwards. Even though rates are going up, appreciation is going up too. And so we're looking at this from a point of wealth. What is it costing you out of your pocket? How much are you losing by waiting 6 months or a year to buy that $1 million property? And it's substantial because number one, the price is going to be higher because of appreciation. Number two, the rate will be higher because the feds have said they're going to raise rates. And number three, you're losing out on paying down the mortgage. So if we take a look at a $1 million property today, the cost of waiting 6 months, it'll cost you $43,000. You'll have lost $43,000 by waiting 6 months. You'll have a higher payment of $296 on that same loan. If you wait a full year, you will have lost $81,000. And the cost of the loan will be $510 higher than if you bought it today. So rates will be higher, prices will be higher, but you will have lost out. So waiting is not an option if you consider it from a financial point of view. If you wait 2 years to buy that property, it will cost you you will have lost $147,767, and your increase in payment will be $904. So the cost is substantial for waiting. If you go up one level to a 1.5 price property, then you're talking a whole lot more money. 6 months of waiting will cost you $46,000. A year of waiting will cost you $88,000. And 2 years of waiting will cost you $162,000. Your payment will be higher in 6 months by $157, a year by $212, and 2 years by $355. So while you're waiting, the prices keep appreciating, and you'll have lost money. $2.5 million is even higher. Now, if we look at a $2.5 million price, you're looking at a cost of waiting 6 months of $109,180. $109,180 for waiting 6 months on a $2.5 million house. Your payment difference is $744 higher. You'll have lost amortization of $13,900 over the course of a year. So you see, it's substantial. You're losing a substantial amount of money by waiting. You have to look at the whole picture. The amount of money that you're losing by not taking on a loan right now is significantly higher than the cost of an interest rate, of a higher interest rate. If you wait 2 years on a property at $2.5 million, you will have lost $323,000 by waiting. Your payment will be $2,043 higher than it was if you bought 2 years ago. So it's substantial.
So let's kind of like go back a little bit. So you're somebody that wanted to buy a home. In Los Angeles, our housing prices continue to go up and they're expensive. It's hard to find a home under $1 million. I mean, even if you were approved to 800,000, I had a client that just closed. When we first started working, they had all the hopes and dreams. I was going to buy a home for 800, and I felt terrible to be able to say, or to have to say, it's not going to happen. And we went through the process, right? We went to some outer areas. We even left Los Angeles County, and still we're getting outbid and outbid and outbid. And then interest rates ticked up, and then that meant they could buy less home. And so my point is, with someone that is qualified at $1 million, maybe that's the top of your budget. Maybe you barely got qualified. Maybe your DTI doesn't have any room to get you up to 1.2. Like literally is $1 million at the top of your budget. Can you afford for your payment to go up $250 on $1 million by waiting 6 months? Can you really afford that? Can you afford to wait a year for that $1 million house? $296, almost $300 more. So think about this for a second. If you're not getting a raise, or your annual rate of raise increase is 2% or 5%, and yet inflation is going up 7-8%, and interest rates are ticking up, if you wait a year from now, that same home that you could have bought today is going to cost you, was it $300 in a year, or was that 6 months?
6 months is going to cost you in prices, in payment?
In payment.
Yeah, $300 more a month.
$300 more a month for waiting a year.
No, 6 months.
6
a year
months.
is $500.
$500. So really sit down and think about this. Process this through. You're wanting to buy a home. You're paying rent. Rents are going up. In most cases, they're going up 3 to 6%. It depends on which part of the city you're in. And sometimes, if you don't do a month-to-month lease, they're jacking your rents up 10 and 12%.
Mm-hmm.
So either you're going to pay more money that's you don't get to get any benefit from, or you can buy a home where you are increasing equity, where you're paying down your property, which helps increase your equity overall. You are able to write off taxes, so you're getting a little bit of a tax break, and that same property, if you wait a year, is going to cost you $500 more. Can you really afford that? Are you starting a new job? Are you getting a, $50,000 a year raise to be able to afford $500 a month more? Like, you have to really stop and think about these things. Don't be scared off by what the news says.
Yeah.
Yes, there's rumors of recession. Yes, we're in inflation. Yes, interest rates have gone up. But a year from now, the market's not about to implode and drop, and prices aren't coming down several $100,000. You can't go by what happened years ago. That was a completely different scenario. And again, market update is coming soon. We're going to dive a little deeper into that.
Let me just say one other thing about that think of all the people that you know, yourself included, who thought, I'll wait last year until prices come down. The pandemic's going to make prices drop. No one's going to buy a house. Well, what's happened? They've gone up higher and higher, and they will continue to go up because there's too many buyers and not enough properties. So you're not going to see a decline in prices. You're going to see maybe a leveling off in the number of offers you get. But all my clients who have been sitting around waiting are pulling their hair out now because they can't afford it, or they're still sitting on the sidelines because they said, I'll wait a year down the road and see what prices will be. Well, now they're too high. And rates are too high. So don't make the mistake of thinking only about the interest rate. That's the only thing. But think in terms of your wealth and what you're creating by buying a property, as Corey is saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you're saying everything that I keep saying. I mean, I have a couple of examples. I have one client, and it almost hurts for me about their situation, because I met them. We were looking at beautiful new construction property. I was able to negotiate a little bit off the price, which is hard to do in new construction. It's a premium.
Very hard to do.
Okay. Got a little bit off, and then they didn't move forward.
Yeah.
And then there was another opportunity we had, and then they were like, oh, we think prices are going to go down. And I'm like, this is a neighborhood that's turning. Like, this is one of 3 homes that's new on this block. You can see other developers are coming in. Your equity is going to increasingly jump when another new construction property comes on the market. If they would have bought the first house, they would have had $600,000 in equity today in 2 years. If they would have bought the second house, they would have had $450,000 in equity in 2 years. Like, these are real numbers and what's really happening. Don't let fear stop you from moving forward. Like I said, you need to talk to the professional agent that you're working with. If you're not working with someone, you want to reach out to me for a referral because you're in another state or you're here in California, I can help you. But you've got to talk to somebody. Don't make these decisions based on the news or what your friends are saying. Talk to professionals working in this arena that deal with this day in and day out and that can actually talk to you about facts and numbers, not the sensationalism to get you to watch the news.
Absolutely. And the media is now pushing that there's a housing bubble and we're going to see a big drop in prices. But that is absolutely not true.
Honestly, we could go on forever about these scenarios, but I don't want to drag this out, right?
We could go
really
on for a long time.
Because we have multiple stories.
Yeah.
I have clients that have waited that has cost them an astronomical amount of money in equity. I mean, literally, they could have bought a house 2 years ago, sold the house, made $500,000-$600,000. I mean,
At least.
It's crazy,
Yeah, it's crazy.
right? You
It's
can't make that
crazy.
in the stock market. You can't make that in your 401k. There's a reason that there's a saying, real estate builds millionaires. Real estate is the biggest vehicle to wealth, and there's so many opportunities coming up, but I have videos coming up on that later this month, whole nother subject. But I want to thank you for sitting down with me and taking the time to run these numbers. And anyone, if you want like these examples, I'm going to create a little, and it should be in the links below, a little download sheet that just kind of talks about the key bullet points of these numbers. What does it cost to wait on $1 million home? What does it cost to wait on a 1.5, a 2.5? Again, you've got to talk to professionals. Don't listen to the hype.
And let me just say that if you want some more information on this cost of waiting, or even the cost of renting versus buying, which is another whole seminar we could do, please contact me. I'll be happy to talk to you by phone, by email, by text, and we can discuss it. I can run numbers for you directly.
Absolutely. All of his contact information is below. And like he said, if you have a specific scenario, let's say you are ready to step up, sell your home, but you're nervous about the next home, it's really good to talk to a lender. Don't just do your own numbers, go online, use a mortgage calculator. There's factors that those things don't account for.
Yeah.
And if you're not a lender yourself, you don't know these other factors, and you could get thrown off. And you might think you can't afford it, or you might think you can and then get disappointed. It's better to know where you're at so that we can find you the best fit accordingly. And I say we, any agent that you work with can find you the best fit.
And what Corey is saying is really important because you need to work with professionals in this market. This is a market where you don't want to wing it, either with your loan or certainly not with your realtor. You need someone professional, very experienced, and an expert in the field to be able to get a property and close on it on time.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, you know what I'm gonna say. Click the subscribe button to subscribe, the bell for updates, and if this video was helpful to you, give it a thumbs up. If you have other questions and you want to make some comments, type away in the comment box. It's all good. More good stuff is coming up for you guys. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Thank you. Nice to